All right, welcome to the Expired Show. Again, this is our third attempt. We're having audio difficulties today, but I guess that's what happens when you have a live show, Murphy's Law. So, welcome back, and I am Bella, and we have Lizzie.
Hello, everybody.
And Lizzie and I have some really interesting things we've been researching that we're going to talk about. And Lizzie's going to go first, and she is going to talk about some serial killers, and then we are going to discuss the bodies, the human bodies in those museums that people go to that display real human bodies, like there have been like plasterized, and discuss now, do these people get permission to have their bodies put on display in these museums, or are they being displayed without people's permission? Their bodies are just taken and put on display without their family knowing. It's
Ooh, I
very,
can't wait
very,
to find out.
yes, it's very shocking when you hear where these bodies are coming from, because I was completely shocked. I was like, "Oh, OMG." I'm like, "And I am not going back to that country." No. Okay.
hmm
So, now let's start with your serial killer, Lizzie. We were in the middle of him, but we got cut off, so now we're going to start again.
Okay, I have Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer. So, Kemper is your textbook definition of a mother-son hatred dynamic. His mother, Clarnell Stramberg, was a domineering, abusive woman who humiliated him constantly, forced him to sleep in a dark basement because she feared he would R his sisters and told him he was unlovable. So long
That's
before he was,
awful.
that was awful, yeah. Long before he was known as the co-ed killer, Kemper's violent trajectory began at home. Due to his escalating behavior and dark fantasies, his abusive mother sent him to live on his grandparents' isolated ranch in North Fork, California.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah,
So, well, I don't know if they went over this part, but what I'm wondering is why would the mother, unless he show some signs of trying to violate his sisters, that made his mom think, oh, he's gonna do this. I need to stick him in the basement so he doesn't do this. Like, why would the mom just assume that her son is gonna violate his sisters, unless he like maybe showed some kind of behavior that was off?
yeah. It wasn't specific as to why she feared that he would do that. The sisters.
I'm sorry, your audio went out but came back in. So you said that what she just feared it.
It never gave a reason why
Uh,
she
why
feared
she
it.
feared it? Okay.
Yeah. hmm
So we don't know if it's because she was just crazy and making things up, or if because she saw some kind of behavior from him that seems odd.
Right. Right.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
August. You're welcome. August 27th, 1964. At just 15 years old, Kemper sat in the kitchen with his grandmother, Maud Kemper. After a minor argument, he took a rifle he had been given for hunting and unalived her in the back of the head. When his
Oh my god.
grandfather, Edmund Sr., drove up to the house shortly after, Kemper walked outside and unalived him dead in the driveway as well. When
Whoa.
asked by authorities why he did it, Kemper famously gave a deeply disturbing answer. He just wanted to see what it felt like to unalive his grandmother, and he unalived his grandfather so the old man wouldn't have to find out that his wife was deceased.
Oh, that's why he did it.
Yep.
But why? What was the disturbing reason he gave? Because that's when it cut out.
Um, he just wanted to see what it felt like to unalive his grandmother,
Hmm.
and
That's
he just unalived the grandfather so he wouldn't find out that his wife was unalived.
that is pretty messed up. Now, so then what happens to him? He's 15. Don't tell me that he gets put in juvie, gets released at 18, and then starts this crime of unaliving these students and these girls.
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
he spent from age 15 to 21 years old, locked in a maximum security psychiatric hospital
Oh,
for unaliving the grandparents. He missed the foundational years where, you learn to date, marry, start families, have
yeah.
friendships. He missed all that. So he proved to be a master manipulator. He befriended the prison psychiatric uh, people, memorized the answers to their psychological evaluation test, and convinced them he was entirely cured. So he was released on
Oh,
his
the audio went out
21st
again.
birthday.
Now, okay, now it came back. So we're having a little bouncy, bouncy here of audio. Okay, so it cut off right before you were talking about his birthday.
So he was released on his birthday because
Uh
he
huh.
learned to memorize answers and he was a master manipulator. So he pretended
Ooh.
to be cured of,
Ah.
yeah.
And what was it that caused him to unalive his grandparents? What did they say was the medical psychological reason? Did they ever say?
No, they never said no.
Yeah, 'cause
So
I
once,
don't think people are cured from that. It's like once you start killing it, unaliving at a young age, it just gets worse.
right, right. So after his release, the state returned Kemper back to the person that caused the trigger in him, which was his abusive mother. Um, the psychological friction restarted all of his homicidal urges again. So, after being released, Kemper targeted young college students and hitchhikers in the Santa Cruz area. He intentionally targeted women who represented the upper middle class, Democrat. So it'd be more like demographic that his mother constantly praised and compared him to unfavorably. So between
Oh,
May of 1972 and April of 1973, Kemper embarked on a calculated killing spree targeting young women who were hitchhiking around the university. Because his mother worked at the university, California Santa Cruz, he stole a university parking decal from her and placed it on his own windshield. When female students saw that sticker, it instantly lowered their defenses. They assumed he was a university employee or a trusted student. So then we have Mary Ann PC, who was 18, and Anita Luchessa. They were both 18. The two Fresno State University students were hitchhiking to visit friends at Stanford. Kemper picked them up, drove them to a secluded wooded area near Alameda, and unalived them. He took their bodies back to his apartment to dismember them while his roommate was away.
and how old is he now? 18?
Uh, yes, at this time, no, he's 21.
21? Okay.
Yep. Then we have Aiko Ku. So September 14th, 1972, a young talented Korean dance student who missed her bus and made the
Okay, now the
fatal
audio went.
decision. Is it back?
Uh, yeah, it's back now. So Aiko Ku.
Okay. Yeah, she was a talented Korean dance student who missed her bus and made the fatal decision to hitchhike to her dance class.
Oh no.
Kemper Kemper abducted her, strangled her in his car, and drove her back to his apartment. Then we're at January 8th, 1973. We have Symphony Shaw.
What was he
Uh,
doing after he took them to his apartment? What did he do with the bodies then? Like, was he
he
burying them? Was he disposing of them?
eventually he did, but it was almost like he was collecting them, and then he
Oh,
would, yeah.
but his
So
roommate did it smell like the stench of
the
corpses?
roommate was gone. So he'd always wait till the roommate was gone
Yeah, but
to go do.
when the roommate would come back though, would he smell the corpses that were there?
You would think,
Yeah, unless he's doing like major like some kind of like drugs or something that it's there's like this really smelly one I can't stand. It makes me puke.
right?
Marijuana. Unless he's like smoking that stuff all the time, and maybe that disguises the smell of the bodies. I don't know. Or
It,
incense.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty weird.
So with Cynthia, who was 18, he did the same thing. He unalived her, hid her body in his bedroom closet, while his mother, so this one he hid in the house with his mom when she was
Oh.
in the next room, and then he later disposed of Cynthia's remains in the ocean and part of it in the nearby mountains. But
Oh, so he dismembered the bodies.
yes, but he buried the head in his mother's backyard garden. He buried
Oh.
it facing up toward his mother's bedroom window. Later stating that in interviews he did it because his mother always liked to look down on people. So then we have Rosalind Thorpe, who was 23, and Alice Liu, who was also 23. They were graduates of the same university. Kemper weaponized the campus parking sticker given to him again by his
Yeah.
mother. Okay, so he picked up both women simultaneously, shot them inside the car, and managed to drive right past campus security guards
Oh.
with the mortally wounded women hidden in the vehicle. Ed Kemper killed a total of 8 women out of his 10 overall victims. His grandmother was his very first victim when he was a teenager, and the remaining 7 women were unalive during his intense year-long terror campaign in California between May of 1972 and April 1973. Kemper loved exploiting the hippie hitchhiking culture of the early 1970s because he drove a
See,
clean
that's I'm
car.
sorry. That's what I was trying to get at was because of the time period, people were doing a lot of pot back then and
Right,
drugs
right,
and stuff. So maybe the roommate was all high off drugs and didn't realize that there's sorry, dead bodies in the room next door because I
right,
don't understand how you wouldn't smell that unless he was like out of his mind somehow.
right. He also started to get into necrophilia as well.
Ooh.
Besides, yeah. So his two final unalivings of were the emotional climax of the entire criminal life. He unalived his mother, the root source of his lifelong psychological rage, and her closest confidant. Clarnell was 52, which was his mother. He finally had the courage to end her life. On Good Friday, after she went to sleep, he beat her with a hammer and then
Ugh.
took her head. Then Sarah Hallett, who was 59, Clarnell's best friend, Kemper called her and invited her over for a surprise dinner party right after unaliving his mother. He unalived her the moment she walked through the front door, solely to steal her car for his brief escape out of the
I
state.
was about to say, why would he kill? Why would he unalive her if she wasn't even in the house? Like, why would he invite her over to? And it was just for the car. Did he
Right.
also decapitate her? It seems like he likes decapitating these women.
So this one, it doesn't say that he decapitated her.
No, but the
He
mom
just,
he did.
yep, yep. Kemper openly admitted once he was caught, he openly admitted to the FBI that the 6 college students were unalive were merely surrogates for his mother because he was too terrified of his mother to confront her directly. So he took out his rage on women who reminded him of her. The most bizarre thing is that the police never caught him. He kind of told on himself after driving all
Yeah,
the way to
he got himself
Colorado.
caught.
Right, right. He realized that the local Santa Cruz police, with whom he used to drink with at a local bar called the Jury Room, were likely looking for him, and tired of running, he pulled over to a payphone in Pueblo, Colorado, called the police department, and confessed. The desk sergeant initially thought it was a prank because Big Ed was a friend of the department. Kemper had to stay on the line and provide specific, unreleased crime scene details to convince them to send local units to arrest him. He went to trial in late 1973. The standard legal strategy for a serial killer facing a life sentence is to let their lawyers do the talking while they stay quiet and try to minimize their crimes. Kemper did the exact opposite. He explicitly rejected the defense team's attempt to portray him as legally insane. Kemper took the stand and testified in graphic, matter-of-fact detail about exactly how he planned the unalivings of people, how he executed them, and what he did to their bodies. His delivery was completely calm, analytical, and polite, which made the horrifying details he was describing sound even more chilling to the jury. He essentially argued the prosecution's case for them, proving he was fully aware that his actions were illegal and wrong. In a stunning move that shocked the courtroom, Kemper openly stated to the judge and jury that he deserved the ultimate punishment. When asked what he believed was the appropriate sentence for his crimes, he simply blurted out death by torture. He went on to explain he believed the crimes he committed were so heinous that society should not have to pay to feed or house him for the rest of his
Yeah,
natural life.
well, that's true. That's true. I agree with him. So at least he knew, like, the right thing to say, because yeah, that's exactly what I believe too.
Right. However, his request was legally impossible to grant because just a year earlier, in 72, the California Supreme Court had temporarily struck down capital punishment. Because the death penalty was completely off the table in the state at the time, the judge had no choice but to sentence him to 8 consecutive life terms instead. It was a rare moment that where a serial killer pulled back the curtain on his own mind for the
Yeah.
public. So later, leaving the jury completely unnerved by his acts, um, and so much detail. He was put in prison. He remains incarcerated to this day at the California Medical Facility in Vacaville, widely considered by historians to be one of the most compliant, fully self-aware inmates in the system. The psych the psychology it was later determined, um, or he admitted to psychiatrists that every time he unalived a young woman, he was visually projecting his mother's face onto them. The climax of his spree, of course, where he told on himself. Um, Ed Gaines' mother, Augusta, this was also what inspired the film Psycho. So Ed,
Oh.
right. So Ed Gein's mother, Augusta, was a fanatically religious, domineering woman who isolated Ed from the world and constantly drilled into his head that all women except her were inherently evil
Whores.
and promiscuous.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
when pioneering FBI agents Don Douglas and Robert Ressler were trying to build a psychological database to understand serial killers, Kemper welcomed them with open arms. Unlike other killers who lied, bragged, or denied the crimes, Kemper sat with the FBI for hundreds of hours and analyzed himself. With his IQ of 145, he explained the mechanics of his fantasies, his hatred for his mother, and how he selected his victims. The FBI only admitted that Kemper provided some of the most critical breakthroughs for the behavioral science framework used to catch killers today.
Oh, I wonder if he's part of on that scale, the evil scale. Remember I was talking
Maybe,
about that with you earlier, that there's to be a show about that.
right, yes.
I
Hmm.
wonder what let me look that up to see what he number he is on the evil scale, because that show
Okay.
to me was very fascinating. But yeah, you may continue. While you're doing that, I'm gonna look and see if I can find out. Um,
So,
mhm.
okay. Kemper has been legally eligible for parole multiple times over the decades. However, in a rare display for life term inmate, Kemper has repeatedly waived his right to parole hearings or explicitly told the board that he should never be released. In recent years, Big Ed has retreated from the prison spotlight due to advanced age and declining health. He suffered a stroke several years ago, utilizes a wheelchair, and requires full-time medical care within the Vacaville facility. He
Oh
spends his
wow,
quiet.
he is very tall. Sorry, they called him Big Ed
Yeah.
because he's 6'9".
Oh, okay.
Whoa, yeah, he's definitely a Big Ed. Yeah, that would
He
be
spends his.
imposing and scary, like a guy that big, like
Mm-hmm.
like attacking these women that I'm sure are very petite, much smaller than him.
Right. Yeah. He spends his days quietly, entirely separate from the general prison population, waiting out the end of his life sentence. So
So it's like he
this is
felt some kind of like remorse or some he had some like he knew what he was doing was wrong. He couldn't control
yeah,
himself. Is that what it was?
yes, yeah. I just find it interesting though. How rare is it to hear an inmate say, "Don't, I don't want to be released."
Yeah, and
Most
he
of
say
them would
wanted to be
do.
tortured. It's like, yeah, he should have been tortured for what he did to all those victims.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I so what he said was brilliant to me. Like I wish all serial killers would say that stuff. But
Hmm.
they all try to get off and out of and keep committing unalivings, as we've seen in previous serial killer cases. They keep getting
Right.
out of prison and continuing their murder sprees. But he
Yeah.
actually wanted it to be stopped, so he like basically turned himself in because he knew he was going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's kind of sad too. I
But
really
I.
wonder like what else his mother did to him as a child that they haven't, because of course there's so much that goes on behind closed doors that we never hear about.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
imagine if we know some of the stuff, there could have been even worse stuff that was never actually released to the public, or did the public, never found out about.
And
But I guess he,
I wonder if actually his mother didn't trust him, or she had something mentally wrong with her and didn't want any female around him. So made up the excuse, I'm afraid you're going to hurt your sisters, so we're going to stick you in the basement.
was the mother doing anything sexual with him?
It didn't even mention that. Yeah.
Here,
But
okay,
if,
he is a category 22 on the gradations of evil scale.
oh, wow.
I think 23 is the highest number. Then again, it's been, let me see, what is the highest number on the evil scale? I haven't seen, the show in so many years, like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So 22 is the highest number. Okay.
Oh,
I thought there was a 23, so it's 22. So he's the highest on that scale.
okay.
1 through 22, it says the reason is because the category is reserved for psychopathic torture murderers, where both sexual and non sexual sadism are the primary motives.
Okay.
He's a sadist. So it says category 22 criteria pertains to psychopathic, they have to be psychopathic, sadistic individuals whose crimes often involve acts of sexual mutilation, necrophilia, and extreme depraved acts. Kemper was placed in this tier due to the grotesque and calculated nature of his crimes against young women and his own mother, which included decapitation, mutilation, and necrophilia. So
Mm,
he did that to his own mother too, the necrophilia apparently. So it wasn't just to the other women, but it was like to all. I guess his grandmother was the only one that didn't. I don't know if he did it to his grandmother, but so that's why. And he mutilated them. So it wasn't like he was just dismembering them. He was actually mutilating them and decapitating them on purpose because he was into like those like, extreme depraved acts of sexual mutilation.
wow.
And it says Kemper also displays high level of depravity on other criminal profiling criteria. Factors frequently attributed to his crimes include exploitation of trust, exploiting close and trusting relationships to his victims, frequently by using his imposing size and polite, trustworthy demeanor as a hitchhiker lure.
Right.
Extreme desecration, disrespecting the victims after death, including necrophilia and mutilation. And indifference, severe indifference to his actions, and the devastating impacts on the victims' families. Despite scoring as one of the most savage offenders on the graduations of evil scale, experts also heavily factor in his profound mental illness. He was paranoid schizophrenic
Oh, okay.
and his abusive childhood trauma. So that's why he probably did what he did to his grandmother, because he was a paranoid schizophrenic.
Mhm.
That makes sense why they put him in that mental facility. But then I guess they thought he had it under control. But see, that's the thing with schizophrenia is it's really like if people aren't taking their medications, like they really need to be monitored, because unfortunately, if they get off their medications, they can become a danger to themselves or to others.
Right.
And we don't want anyone harming themselves or harming anyone else. So I
Right.
mean, I've known several people, um, friends of friends and stuff, that growing up, like when I was at the university, and like a friend of my boyfriend's, and a couple other people that I've met throughout the years that were schizophrenics,
Mhm.
and dealing with their behaviors, like everything that like my boyfriend would tell me about his friend, and I actually saw some of the stuff myself,
Right.
and it was pretty scary when he wouldn't take his meds. When he took his meds, he was perfectly normal.
Mhm.
He was like a cool, good person. When he didn't take his meds, he would vanish. He would disappear in Miami. No one could find him for like days and weeks. And eventually, the last I heard was he went missing, and I don't even know if they ever found him.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was 20 some years ago. Um, so it's sad because these are people's children and family members, and
Right.
but it's like you want to help them, but also keep them from hurting anyone else.
Mhm.
Oh man,
Absolutely.
so he's still alive and he's only 77,
Yeah.
so he could have another 30 years to go. He's probably gonna live
Mhm.
past 100. Well, you know what they say evil never dies.
Right.
The evil people live forever and the good ones die young.
But
So
hopefully he still has that mentality that if the parole keeps coming up, he'll still keep declining it.
yeah, I mean, he's trying to stay in. He knows if he's released, he's going to go back to doing that. It's like an
Right.
itch that he can't, that he needs to scratch.
Right.
So these people, it's like he can't control it. Plus, he has the paranoid schizophrenia on top of it.
Mhm.
And I know that the medications don't make them feel the greatest. It kind of numbs them and desensitizes them. That's why they don't
Mhm.
like to take the medications, because they want to have feelings and emotions. So they stop taking the medications, because otherwise they say that, well, the people I know that schizophrenic say that the medications made them feel like zombies, like they had no like any joie de vie, like
Right.
wanting to live life or do anything. They're just like kind of like sedated.
Right.
And that's why they stop taking the meds, is because they want to feel normal again. But then their normal is that they end up going, the schizophrenia explodes and gets the
Mhm.
best of them, unfortunately.
Right.
So it's a very sad condition, because I know a lot of really good people. There are amazing, amazing people that, when they're not on their meds, they become a danger to themselves and to other people. But when they're on their meds, they're the sweetest, nicest people you could ever meet.
Mhm.
And it's sad to see people's lives get ruined that way, because it's not only ruins their lives, but they end up ruining the lives of other people, the people that they
Right.
harm. Aw. I don't really know what to like. His actions were very heinous and grotesque and depraved, but I also feel like he probably was already born with that mental condition, and then on top of with his mother
Mhm.
treating him so poorly and calling him like a violator and stuff.
Right.
That
And that he was unlovable, telling him he's
yeah,
unlovable.
that's of course is going to traumatize any child.
Right.
So it's kind of because it's like some things make me feel bad for him, but then it's like, okay, he was a serial killer though. Like he knew what he was doing was wrong and he still did it. But then I feel
Right.
bad because I'm like, oh, but he had such a bad mother or such a bad childhood. But
Right.
it's
Yeah.
also because then I start thinking, I'm like, well, I had bad things happen to me that I don't do to other people. So then it's like, then that's when I start thinking, like, well, if they knew there were bad things, why would they want to harm someone else just because they went through a situation when they were a child? Why want other people to go through that? That's how I see
Mm-hmm.
it. You would think you don't want anyone else to go through what you suffered.
Exactly.
So that's why I get like torn between the two. It's like, should I feel sympathy for them or should I just be like, oh no, they're just rotten evil?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like oh no, it's kind of like a tug of war in my mind because I want to be like, oh, it's like God, it really sucks that they had such a horrible family and really messed them up mentally. But
Mm-hmm.
also, it's like if they know right and wrong, and he clearly knew what he was doing was wrong, but yet he still did it. So
Right.
he should have turned himself into a mental facility before he started unaliving people. Because if you knew you
Unless
can't
you
control
can
it,
only. Well, remember he was turned in at 15. So does the 15-year-old get to say at that time back then, hey, there's something wrong, I need to go to the hospital?
well, no, I mean like after the 15, after what happened, I'm sure after what happened with his grandmother and grandfather, then he
Right.
was an adult when he was released.
Right.
So he could have said, after he got out and realizing that, oh, he wanted to harm people, he could have been like gone to the nearest hospital and turned himself in and said, I need to be admitted because I have thoughts of unaliving people. And
Right.
immediately they would have put him in a psychiatric ward and evaluated him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they need to do. These people that have these evil itches that they need to fulfill. It's like, no, if you know what you're doing is wrong and you don't want to do it, then prevent it by turning yourself in before you do anything wrong. But what kind of cracks
Absolutely.
me up is how he actually said to the judge that he thinks he should be like tortured and killed for his actions.
Uh-huh.
It's like, yeah, finally, someone who actually
Right.
says it as it is, because that's what I would have said too. I would have been like, amen.
Yeah.
uh, but it still kind of makes me sad for him
Yeah, it
because
does.
because you think about it, he's had a very lonely life. He's been in basically incarcerated ever since he was 15, except for that 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and he's now 77, and he's just gonna basically he had his entire life incarceration except for a year, and that's when he was committing these, you know,
Yeah.
this crime spree. So he doesn't really know anything about life in the outside world. He just knows life in prison. Maybe that's why he wants to stay there because he knows that. Because that's the other thing too. It's like, where is he going to get a job? Who's he going to live with? How's he going to? He doesn't know how to use computers or internet or cell phones. He doesn't
Right.
know any of that technology because he hasn't been around for all that. Because I heard that happens to a lot of prisoners that when they get released, that they feel lost because
Mm-hmm.
everything has changed so much. Technology has changed drastically since they were imprisoned that they don't know how to do the basic things that now everyone's doing
Right.
because it's so they feel they get very scared because they don't know how they're going to live or what they're going to do or how they're going to take care of themselves. So maybe that's another reason why he wants to stay in there because there he's like, he has a place to sleep, he has food, he has cable TV, he has everything he's comforts and he's not
Well,
unaliving
that
people either.
would someone that resembles his mother trigger him. So there's no
Yeah,
females where he's at.
yeah, that's true. But if he gets released, there's going to be females everywhere. It's not like they can
Right.
send him to a country that's just males.
Right. So that's probably another reason why he wants to stay there.
Yeah. And I just had this weird thought in my head. It's like, and what if it was a country of just males? And what if he went to a drag queen club? Then what? Is he
Oh,
going to like lose his mind again and be like, oh my gosh, she looks like my mother? It's like,
right. Wow.
I
Yeah.
wonder how that would apply if you saw a man dressed as a woman. Now, will that still set off his like, oh my gosh, she has the same hair as my mom? or is it no,
Mm,
strictly just actual females?
right.
That's curious. I would like to ask a serial killer that, what's his face? What's the name of that guy, that the serial killer that everyone thought was good looking? Um, that he got away with. He killed a bunch of females because they reminded him of his ex that broke up with him. So he was
Bundy?
killing women.
No, it
Yes,
wasn't Bundy.
yes, Bundy. It was Bundy.
Ted
Um,
Bundy. Yeah.
Ted Bundy. Yeah, because that girlfriend he had, that had the daughter that broke up with him. He was so upset that she broke up with him that he started unaliving women that had her same hair color and her same hair and similar features.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the case would have been like if you would have seen a guy with a wig that had similar features, then do they also
Right.
go after people like that too,
Right.
or is it? I wonder how psychologically how that affects them, or they know oh no, that's a guy dressed as a woman, so that doesn't affect me.
Right.
That's kind of, I know it's kind of out there, but I'm kind of curious now. I wonder if they've ever done studies on that. Hmm. Because then that kind of means it's basically a lot of people are not safe, because it's if people are gonna be going after you based on how you look, as you remind them of someone else. God, I'll make sure to stay looking as weird as possible so I don't look like anyone else. And be like,
Exactly.
you can't mix me. I do not look like your mother, your sister, your friend, nothing. I look like nobody.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Well, so that was kind of a sad story. I mean, it's good that he turned himself in.
Right.
Um, I'm kind of a little bummed out that it's category 22, because 22 is my favorite number. So now
Oh.
I'm looking at my number in a different way now. I'm like, this is a psychopathic torture murderer classification. Maybe I need to get a new favorite number. Oh, other examples are Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy. All are
Ah.
22s as well.
Oh wow. Okay.
We should do a whole episode on these rankings for people who are listening who never saw that show. It was out 20 years ago. I'm not sure when exactly it ended, but I used to watch it 20 years ago. Who haven't heard of the gradations of evil scale. Dr. Michael Stone is the one that created it. And it's fascinating because numbers 1 through 22, every serial killer is categorized between 1 and 22,
Right.
depending on different traits they exhibit and their MOs and things. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that would actually be an interesting episode we can do, is discuss each of the different levels. Like, who
Right.
is an example of a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4? I mean, that could actually be a couple episodes,
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's a lot of people that haven't heard about this evil scale. But when I heard about it 20 some years ago, I was watching that show, every episode. I was like, oh my gosh, these people, this is fascinating how they actually were able to, the psychiatrists, break down, divide up what kinds of evil they each are.
Right.
That, I mean, I'm fascinated by psychology and psychiatry, so that really
Mm-hmm.
fascinated me, because that's just a fascination I've always had, is understanding people's minds, the way they think, and why they do certain things the way they do them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now we are going to talk about these. I'm sure there's some people that will listen to this episode and have been to these museums that the bodies, the exhibition, and there's real bodies. There's two different exhibitions. They're owned by different people. Real bodies is owned by a real doctor, the doctor that invented plastination of people, of humans.
Mm-hmm.
And bodies, the exhibition, is owned by a different group of people. And so these exhibitions are in Vegas, New York City, different states around the country that allow them, and different countries. They're also in the UK and other countries around, Europe, that I know of for a fact. Now, there was back in 2000, and I think it was 2018. No, 2014. Excuse me, stand corrected. 2014. There's a woman called Kim Smith, and this is about the real life plastinated body of her son. So the Kim Smith case happened in 2014 when her 23-year-old son, Christopher Todd Eric, passed away in Arizona during a mental health crisis. But due to a clerical error, his mother was never notified and his body was mistakenly tagged as unclaimed. And so when his body was tagged as unclaimed, somehow it ended up in the hands of these museum people that were displaying plastinated human bodies. Now, so years later, his mom's watching a news segment on real bodies that the anatomical exhibit, the touring anatomical exhibit displaying chemically preserved plastinated human specimens. And she recognized one of the displays as her son's preserved body.
Oh my
And she,
gosh.
yeah, imagine that. Her son was missing because apparently he unalived himself during a mental health crisis. And she didn't know. I'm thinking they don't say that he was homeless, but to me it sounds like he was like, maybe I don't know if he was on drugs or he was just mental illness. They don't mention anything about drugs, so it could have just been mental illness. Maybe he was schizophrenic, or
Okay.
had some kind of issue like that. But for her not to know that he unalived himself, just be like worried he's been missing for years and not know where he's at, then that means to me that he was homeless, and that's why she was never notified.
Right.
And he was tagged as, like unclaimed and given away to whoever wanted the body.
How old was he?
23.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so she launched a legal battle to have his remains returned and to reform how unclaimed bodies are processed. But the exhibition organizers later clarified that the specimen in question predated her son's death by, they say, like 20 years or something. But they can't prove it, though. And they refused to let her get a DNA test on the body. So what are they trying to hide? If you know this isn't her son, and you know where you got the body from, it's not her son, like you're saying, then why don't you let her get the DNA test, so give her a peace of mind and calm her, and she can be like, okay, well, that's not my son. You didn't cut his body up and put him on display.
Right.
So now this is where this gets interesting, because while researching this, I decided to research where these bodies come from. Are they all from unclaimed bodies in the morgue? They just don't get claimed, and the government hands them over to medical research purposes, or anyone that needs bodies, like these museum people that want to plastinate them for medical, for a touring like medical anatomical museum.
Right.
Well, these two rival companies, and they actually were suing each other at one point too.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's something I think in 2004, 2000 was it 18, I believe, is when they started suing each other, because. But the reason Bodies, the exhibition, started suing the other company. Now, the reason why Bodies, the exhibition, started suing the other, what's the name of the other one again? Let me see, because I don't want to tell you guys the wrong names. It's Real Bodies. Okay, Bodies exhibition started suing Real Bodies. Real Bodies is one that is owned by the doctor that created the process of plastinating human bodies.
Oh, okay.
Now, because Real Bodies said that Bodies the exhibition was using Chinese prisoners, murdered Chinese prisoners, as their exhibits.
Oh.
So they start suing that company, but for slander or whatever. But the thing is, the company is right, though. They were purchasing all their bodies from China, from the police in China.
Oh my god. Oh.
So Bodies Exhibition, if any of you guys go to that display, which they still have them in New York, Vegas, and other Texas, I think, other places around the country, those bodies were Chinese prisoners that were tortured and murdered. So basically, anyone who didn't agree with the Chinese regime, with the communist regime, they would imprison and torture.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the bodies that they would sell to this museum.
Oh.
Which then also concerns me. It's like, of course, these people in China want to make a lot of money. So
Right.
what if they're then offering more prisoners just to get more money for the bodies?
Right. That's yeah. That's true.
So that kind of concerns me. Then it's like, so yes, and to find out it's the Chinese police. They're selling these corpses, and it's a company called. Its specimens are legally leased or purchased from Chinese medical universities and plastination laboratories such as the Dalian Hoffman Biotechnique. That's the laboratory that does the plastinating of the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Under Chinese law, if a body goes unclaimed at the hospital or morgue for a specific period, it can legally be transferred to medical schools for research and education. Okay, but this isn't a medical school. This is a museum,
Right.
and these are commercial exhibits. But the thing is, it's run by a company called Premier Exhibitions, and the way they're able to get away with this is because they rely on a legal loophole regarding unclaimed bodies. So basically, they say they're getting their bodies from unclaimed Chinese bodies in China.
Mm-hmm.
But or unclaimed bodies wherever, in they're unclaimed, but they're actually getting the bodies from the police in China, meaning that now they have to put a warning after that lawsuit after they went to court, the two companies, because they start suing real bodies for defamation and stuff by saying that they were using Chinese prisoners' bodies in their museum exhibits. They were. So they
Right.
didn't lie about that. The rival company didn't lie. Real bodies uses only bodies that people have donated, have written consent, and said, when I pass away, I want my body to go to real bodies.
Right.
There's right now 22,000 people alive in the United States of America that are voluntarily turning over their bodies when they pass away to the Real Bodies Museum. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if I did that, would they make me look hotter? Like, could I ask them for like a little nip and tuck and be like, okay, guys, so when you're like, when you're cutting me up for dissection, for display, can you give me like a nose job and like, a little lift here and there, and, like maybe some lip plumping action, and
Right.
just make me look a little cuter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can't afford plastic surgery, so just give me something like, post mortem plastic surgery, so that way at least I look hot on display.
Exactly.
I would have too many requirements. I'd be like, and I'd be like, and I don't want my eyes open because I don't want to be staring at people I don't know. I want them staring at me in the face, so keep my eyes closed. And I want to have perfume on every day, so I smell like Chanel No. 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be smelling like plastination and formaldehyde. Ew. No,
Mm-hmm.
they'd be like, we'll take another body. We don't need your body. You're too difficult. I'd be like, they're gonna call me like the diva body lady, the diva dead body person. They'll be like, we're not dealing with her. She's too much of a diva. She thinks that this is like, that she's going to like the Grammys of dead bodies or the Oscars. It's like, yes, I do think so. You're putting me on display. I want to look my best. Just like everyone that
Yeah.
goes to the Oscars. They're on display. They want to look their best. Why can't I when I pass? They're
Mm-hmm.
pretty, like, I'm not in a casket. They actually would have my body. All these people are fully on display. Every organ of their body, their genitals, everything is on display.
Yeah.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
they're for education purposes, for people to learn how the anatomy and body works, but they're also graphic because you really see everything of a person.
Right.
Which I did, dabble in medicine when I was younger, 20 some years ago. and and I have dissected bodies.
Oh.
Yes. So, and it was, to me, at the time, I remember the first few times I would cry because I felt terrible about it. But these
Mm-hmm.
were, I was told by my university medical staff that the med school staff said the bodies were given, to for medical educational purposes.
Right.
Now, but I'm beginning to question, like, okay, so do they get all the bodies in the US just from like the local hospital? Or do any of these universities purchase bodies from China, like this museum,
Oh, yeah.
like prisoners that
Mm-hmm.
were, I know we had a lady, I had a lady, and we named her Rose because Titanic had come out, and it was.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but that was a cute name we thought for an elderly lady. She looked so sweet and cute. So, um, yeah. So basically, the company now, that company Bodies Exhibition, not to be confused with Real Bodies. Okay, so guys, remember, Real Bodies uses real consent forms for their bodies. They know
yes.
exactly who the body belongs to. They have the signed papers and documents. Bodies, the exhibition, does not. They now are forced to have a big disclaimer at their entrances, and it openly admits that the exhibition cannot independently verify that the bodies do not belong to executed Chinese prisoners or political
Oh my gosh.
dissidents. So yes, so basically, all their bodies are political prisoners that were tortured and murdered or unalived,
Mm.
and that to me is very disturbing.
Yeah. To think about their families wanting their loved one's body to
Well, not
bury
knowing,
or
but this is the thing that the families don't even know. Imagine all the Chinese families that don't know that their loved ones' bodies are on display in a museum here in the U.S. because the bodies were sold to this exhibition. They were
that's
purchased.
horrible.
The police sold the bodies. The Chinese government sold the bodies to this company. I don't know who owns
Mm-hmm.
Premier Exhibitions. Um, if it's an American-owned company or if it's, let me see, who are the owners of Premier Exhibitions? Is that an American company? Yes, it is an American company. And it's currently owned by a consortium of private equity firms and hedge funds.
Oh.
And it was originally incorporated, get this, as a Florida operation. And it had established its principal headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, but it started in Florida as a Florida corporation. So it
Mm.
says it operates in various major exhibits such as Bodies Exhibition and Titanic, the Artifact Exhibition, through wholly owned American subsidiaries like RMS Titanic. The current ownership, in June 2016, Premier Exhibitions filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection after facing severe cash flow issues from unprofitable museum spaces, such as a short lived Saturday Night Live exhibition in New York City. Following a lengthy legal and bankruptcy auction process, the company's assets and intellectual property were purchased for $19.5 million. The sale was formally approved by U.S. bankruptcy court, and the current owners who bought out the company as a going concern are a trio of investment firms. So Apollo Global Management, Alta Fundamental Advisors, and a New York-based hedge fund, and Packbridge Capital Partners, an international financial investment firm. Those three are now the owners,
Mm.
consortium of the owners of the company of Premier Exhibitions that owns Bodies Exhibition, that has all
Oh.
these Chinese prisoners on display.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't just do Bodies Exhibition. They have the Titanic exhibition. They have the Saturday Night Live exhibition. So they do different museum exhibitions. But it seems like they're not very profitable because they had to file for bankruptcy and sell the company off to the hedge fund for $19.5 million. That's still a lot of money.
Yeah, that
I
is.
I wonder how much they purchased these bodies for. Let me see.
And I wonder, it makes me wonder if
Mhm.
these families ever did find out, hey, their loved one is there, could they actually sue
Okay,
for
well, it
that?
says, well, okay, well, here's some information. And there's apparently an expose on 2020.
Oh,
So, this is sad. I mean, it just gets sadder. But when you see the price of what they paid for these people's bodies,
mm-hmm,
I thought it was going to be low, but I thought it would be low like a couple $1,000s.
right.
It's not even that. These bodies, the Chinese government sold these bodies to the company for 200 to 300 a piece for each new Chinese body. That's it.
Oh,
So that's how much the loved ones are worth, was $200.
uh, yeah, that is sad. Mm-hmm.
And so it says the individual lab prices, investigative media reports, including a prominent expose by ABC News 2020, revealed that the unpreserved, unclaimed cadavers were initially procured from Chinese medical laboratories and police authorities for just a few $100s each. So it's also from medical laboratories, not just the police, both the police and the medical laboratories.
Mm-hmm.
The mass, but where did the medical laboratories get them from then? The ones from the police came from prisoners,
Right.
but I wonder where the ones from this other company, because they could be these really unethical companies. Like, people go missing every day.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that vanish every day that leave the house and never come back home. That no one knows what happened to them. That's hundreds of
Right.
thousands of people a year. Where is going on? I know some of it's human trafficking, but all can't be human trafficking. Like, I think it's also like, this kind of where they're being used for medical tests, or doctors are, deranged people are taking the bodies and doing these
Mm-hmm.
different bizarre things with them, like putting them on display for the whole world to see.
Mm-hmm.
So while the cost per raw corpse was remarkably low, Premier Exhibitions spent massive sums at the corporate level to process and secure them. In 2006, Premier Exhibitions agreed to a 25 million multi-year deal with Dr. Sui Hongjing, a prominent Chinese anatomist and founder of the Dalian Hoffman Biotechnique, the company I was talking about earlier that does the plastinization. So
Mm-hmm.
they had secured an ongoing exclusive global supply of high-end, fully plastinated specimens and organ displays. So they're paying this doctor in China $25 million a year to have a nonstop supply of, bodies and organs. What
That's.
are they doing with all these bodies? I mean, the body's plastinated. It should be plastinated for 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have to keep getting new specimens over and over and over? Museum pieces can be used over again. And these are traveling museums on top of that. They're not museums that stay put in one place, like the Met Gala or whatever. It's like, these are museums that travel to different states, different times of the
Right.
year. So why would they need to be spending $25 million a year on new plastinated bodies and organs?
Good
What are they
point.
doing with the
Yeah.
current ones? What, are they just using them for like one exhibit and throwing them out and get? Why do they need to buy so many? No, use the same ones over and over. That to me is also really weird, because it makes me feel like these people in China could be unethically unaliving people just to sell them. Like the police, torturing and unaliving these prisoners just to make, $200, $300
Right.
off of each prisoner.
And I wonder what they do if one of these bodies is damaged. Like how? Do they cremate them? Like, what do they do with them?
Yeah, it's true. Like, yeah, what do they do? They can't just throw them in the garbage, or do they just throw them in like a dumpster?
Oh God, I hope
That would be
not.
awful. Oh my gosh! The next time if I ever see like a mannequin looking thing in a dumpster, I'm gonna freak out and think it's one of these Chinese bodies. It says the
Mm-hmm.
incredibly low baseline price paid for the individual bodies fueled intense public and legal outrage. Yeah, you would
Yeah.
think. It's like critics and human rights groups pointed out that the $200 to $300 price tag closely mirrored a black market transaction for the remains of executed Chinese prisoners and marginalized individuals whose families were never notified of their deaths.
Yeah.
See, so a lot of these families were never notified of the deaths. So they have no idea that their loved ones is here on display in a museum or in Europe on display in a museum. So millions of people are seeing these displays all over Europe and the US, and yet their own family in China doesn't know anything
Mm-hmm.
about that. How sad is that?
That's
And
horrible.
it doesn't mean these are bad people. These are political prisoners, meaning people that don't agree with communism.
Right.
So good people, people that are not communist, are all these bodies. Because in China, that's what they said, they're political prisoners. They're
Right.
people that don't have the same political beliefs as the Chinese Communist government.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really disturbing because it's not people that were, oh, these are serial killers, murderers. No,
Right.
these are people that just uh, voted for a different political party, and they end up now a dead body being displayed in a museum for millions of people to see.
Mm.
That is just wrong.
Yeah.
I
It is.
wish I wish they had a way of passing a law and making that illegal because they passed some laws now saying that, like in New York City passed a law saying that no more um bodies can be brought into New York City on display for monetary purposes without consent forms. They need to know who the person is. Like the other exhibition, the Real Bodies uses, they have the real consent forms. It says the name of the person, who they are, all the info on the person, their signatures, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're still allowing Bodies exhibition to run in New York City as long as they don't bring any new corpses in. But they just keep using the corpses they already have on display.
Right.
Why couldn't they make that law where no corpses on display without, consent forms and throw them out?
But if that company's so bad, how do people know if those are the actual signatures?
Oh no, that's the other company. Real Bodies is the one owned by the doctor that created the process of plastination.
Right.
That's a company that is supposedly the one that's ethical, that only uses, and they haven't come under any scrutiny for doing anything bad. They
Well, I'm saying the
use
other one.
Bodies exhibition. Yeah, they're the
Yeah.
ones that
Like.
are using the Chinese prisoners that were tortured and unalived. So yeah, so you're saying like if they were to start getting consent forms now, how would we know if they're even real? That's what you're saying,
Right.
right? Because they can't be
Yep.
trusted.
Yep.
That's a good point. Yeah. I just think they should not operate that show anymore. I think okay, Real Bodies has actual real consent forms for every single body they have.
Mm-hmm.
Let Real Bodies continue doing their thing, and the one that's using all the innocent Chinese prisoners, no, that to me is heartbreaking for their family.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing that they're where the relative, what happened to the relative, and the relative's plastinated, like in some museum for the whole world to see naked.
Right.
That's really sad because those are people's children, people's husbands, wives, kids, and
Mm-hmm.
they got arrested and never saw them ever again after they were arrested, just because they had
That's
different
so
political
sad.
beliefs. That's what
Mm-hmm.
communist government does. That's why we can't let communism take over this country, because people have no rights to the communist government.
Right.
And it's very, very sad. I was shocked by that. So yeah, that kind of bummed me out when I read that because I really thought. I personally think. I think I was telling you this the other day that they should use the bodies of serial killers and
Mm-hmm.
murderers, people that they know for a fact are death row, that for a fact that this person killed 10 people, this person killed 5 people, people that we know are serial killers, like Ed Kemper or Ted Bundy or whatever. Those people use their
Right.
bodies for things like this,
Mm-hmm.
because they already destroyed so many lives and violated so many other people that I think they should. It's like an eye for an eye. Okay, you did it to these people. Well, you shouldn't be granted, a lovely stay in a prison for the rest of your life, watching cable TV in a nice warm bed and hot meals every day
Mm-hmm.
after doing what you did and destroying the lives of all the families of all these victims.
Right.
So I think that that's what they should do for medical testing. Is not use innocent animals, use or innocent people, use the convicted murderers, serial killers, use their bodies for the medical testing and for these museums.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine and listen, just like from a monetary perspective, people, if you're listening to museum people, okay, hint hint, I think your bodies would make a lot more money if it was like a serial killer. You wouldn't be going bankrupt. You get a lot
Right.
more, you get a bigger audience too. So that would make it, I think, more fascinating. People would be like, oh, we're going to go look at these bodies, and these bodies were all these, such and such serial killer, such and such serial killer, such and such murderer. I think that would draw intrigue because people are intrigued by death and by serial killers. There's the fascination that people have. I have it too. It's not that I like serial killers. It's this I can't. I'm trying to comprehend what makes a person tick that way psychologically.
Right.
That they can do something so heinous and so violent, and not just do it once, but over and over and over again. You would think that after the first time, they will feel so much remorse and guilt and be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Oh no, I'll never do it again." And turn themselves in, or stop and never do it again. But no, they just get like worse, and we'll keep more and more as we've seen with the serial killers every Wednesday discussing. They start off with one, then it's two, three, then four, five, six, seven, eight. It's like they just explode in succession of more unalivings.
Right.
They don't slow down. So I think those are the kind of. What do you think about that? What do you think should be done with their bodies? I mean, because they're just going to get, when they pass away, I guess they're just going to get cremated or buried in the prison.
But
I'm guessing the prison probably cremates them because they don't take up burial
well, some
space.
of them are buried in a pauper's grave in
Oh, they are.
sometimes right. Yep, in right near where they're the prison.
Oh, so they still bury them out there. I
Mm-hmm.
thought
Yep.
that they would stop doing that because it would take up too much land. That they would now the pauper's grave, that's like a mass burial. Is that like they bury like 20 bodies at once in
It,
there?
no, it's most times it's just kind of the cheapest way to bury them
Like
in
a
a
pine
box.
box? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like nothing
yeah,
fancy.
nothing fancy. Yeah.
You know what I found out, which I didn't this never occurred to me until I was researching it, because when I go, I want to be cremated. I'm like, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to be in the ground with worms and bugs eating my eyeballs, and like I've seen all those films, horror films, and you see the people in the graves, and there's like worms and creatures and everything, creepy crawlies going in and out of their eye sockets and bodies and mouths, and I'm just like, I'm not up for that. Okay, that just does
Right.
not seem fun to me. So I would prefer to be cremated, and I thought the cremation would be cheaper too. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and they'll say I'll have to buy a casket for thousands of dollars. So that'll save money. No, I found out it's actually more expensive to get cremated because by law, you're required in the US, you're required to purchase a casket, even if a person's going to be cremated. You have to purchase a casket for them, some kind of casket, and even if it's not going to be used, but it's a law. So basically, you're buying a casket And what do these people do then? Resell it like, oh, brand new casket, never used. Here, and they just like sell them around like on eBay or something. I don't know. But or do they put them in the casket and cremate them with the casket, like the pine box? I wonder.
When my dad was cremated, it was just him. He wasn't in a box or
Okay.
a casket. Yeah.
Did they make you guys buy the casket?
No, he never did that.
Really?
He was cremated. Yep. Nope.
Okay, because when I was looking it up, I guess maybe it depends by state then.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was looking it up for my situation, because I have severe medical issues and I just wanted to be prepared. So some
Mm-hmm.
years back, I was looking this stuff up so I could have everything like written in a will of how I want to go, and
Right.
I wanted I want to be done in my Buddhist temple, and I want to be cremated. And then I saw that when I was looking at the pricing, it was like, wait a minute, I have to pay for a casket in the cremation process. It's like, why? If I'm not even going to use it.
Right.
So then I found out. So I guess you know what? That's Let me. You may continue while I'm gonna look this up real quick, because now
Okay.
I'm intrigued. Before we go, now I want to know, and I'm sure there are people that are listening that would want to know, is yeah, what are the rules? Is each state a different rule, or do the laws change, and now you don't have to buy a casket, or did it change and now you're required to buy a casket? I'm gonna find out real quick.
Okay. Well, that and two, if you're only temporarily using the casket, like how many times did they reuse a used casket to display? If that's what they're trying to do, like, oh, we're going to display the person so you can say goodbye and then we'll cremate them. But how many times do they do that? Because I would want a freaking discount. Like, if you're putting my loved one in a used casket, it better not be full price.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's that's the thing. I'm like, is there like an aftermarket, place like on eBay where people are buying like, oh, newly purchased casket, never used, on sale, get it for half
Right.
off.
Wow.
Okay, so now, oh, okay. I guess this is probably where I got mixed up. So it's not an actual casket per se that's required. What is required? It says a traditional casket. Okay, it's not
Okay.
required, but crematories do require a container to hold the body for safety, dignity, and mechanical handling. So, under federal law, funeral providers must offer inexpensive alternative containers for direct cremations. So, yes, you still have to purchase. That's what you have to purchase. These are simple, rigid, leak resistant, and entirely combustible boxes, usually made of corrugated cardboard, pressed wood or fiberboard, unfinished pine, or composition materials. Yeah, so they get cremated with that in the process, because
Okay.
they're not touching the actual bodies, because they want to preserve for safety reasons, because you never know what people passed away from, and doesn't want to contaminate, I guess, other people. So it says, it's prohibited misrepresentations by funeral homes. It is illegal for a funeral director anywhere in the country to tell you that traditional casket is legally required for direct cremation. Okay, if a provider offers cremation, they're legally mandated to inform you that alternative containers are available and list those lower cost alternative containers explicitly on their casket price list. So yes, they're still considered caskets, but not the fancy wood
Right.
caskets. They could be cardboard caskets or pressed wood or fiberboard
Mm-hmm.
or unfinished pine or composition materials. So
Okay.
basically, kind of maybe like that kind of cedar stuff they use in like litter boxes or for like
Mm-hmm.
like guinea pigs and things. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
like but yeah. So that's what that's their casket list. So that's what I read. So it's not a traditional casket, that you have with the velvet lining and the silk and the wood, and they're
Right.
just like little plain little pine boxes or cardboard boxes of fiberboard or corrugated cardboard that's stronger that
Mm-hmm.
that gets cremated with the bodies. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what I
Okay.
mean. So that has still has to be purchased. So when I was looking at my expenses, I was like, whoa, it's gonna be it's like a couple $1,000s more expensive to be cremated than it was just to be buried.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess it depends on the kind of casket you get. If you're gonna be buried in a really fancy casket, then it would be more expensive, obviously.
Right.
Because some people I think spend like what $20,000 or how much is the average casket price? Like thousands upon thousands of dollars for some caskets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're usually the traditional ones are usually between 2,000 and 5,000. Oh no, and there's the metal ones go up to 15,000. And the eco-friendly green burial ones, though, simple wicker, bamboo, or unfinished pine caskets cost between 1,000 and 3,500. So funeral homes typically mark up caskets by 300 to 500% compared to wholesale prices to cover their structural overhead. So it's like they're getting a casket for like, $40 and selling it for like thousands. It says if you are choosing direct cremation instead of a traditional burial, you could get a simple corrugated cardboard alternative, and that could cost you between $50 and $150. Oh, so
Mm.
that's much cheaper because it's going to be cremated with you, the cardboard.
Right.
I guess that's what I'll have to do because what's the point of getting like a full wooden one if I'm going to be cremated with it?
Right.
Yeah, just be
Right.
like, oh, I'll just tell them to do like a hot pink cardboard one, because I want to
Yeah.
go out like a fashionista in style.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, pink is my favorite color. I want everyone to wear pink at my funeral. Well, and at my ceremony, because it's not gonna be a funeral, it would be a Buddhist ceremony. And I said I wanted to be on a yacht, a big, huge
Okay.
yacht. I want my daughter to throw my ashes into every ocean of the world a little bit because I'm like a mermaid dolphin. I want to go back to my world underwater, and I'm
Right.
like the little mermaid. And so I want everyone on the yacht. This is my demands. Everyone on the yacht that attends must wear bright pink, like neon pink, and everyone must listen to my Smule songs the entire time.
Hey, there you go.
Because otherwise no one's going to listen to them. I'll be like, damn, when I pass away, that's going to be the one day you guys are going to listen to my stuff. It's like, that's a requirement now. But I want people to party, have fun, and then the ashes to be distributed in different parts of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would want, because I want more like a life celebration.
Right.
Because I want people to be sad and, mourning. I want people to be, celebrate the, because I personally think like when we move on, that we go to a better place.
Right.
So I think there's no reason for anyone to be sad because I'm like, I'll be up there partying, like woo woo. I'll be in my nirvana having a good time, pain free.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to be happy for us, like throw a party because I'll be up there throwing my own party.
Right. Exactly.
So yes, do you have any questions about these museums now? Would you still go to them knowing this information?
No. No. Not at all. Because I remember going to one before, and it makes me feel bad now knowing
Yeah,
who they were.
because you don't know. Did you know if you went to Bodies the exhibition or Real Bodies?
Bodies exhibition.
Oh, yeah, those are the ones that use the Chinese prisoners.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that would make me so sad.
Mm-hmm.
If because I feel awful. I mean, like the real bodies one, I would be okay with because these are people like me or you that said yes, I want to be
r-
part of real bodies when I pass away.
right,
But the other one, knowing these are people that were just unalive just because of their political beliefs, to me,
right.
that is, and they were tortured before they were unalived. On top of that,
Mm,
they're
mm-hmm.
torture victims. That to me is so disgusting and sad. It's like how can they allow that? But then again, it's a different government over there, and
Right,
bodies like even during COVID, it was being reported when China was saying they only had like a few thousand deaths, that
right.
really the deaths was like 50,000 more bodies than what they were claiming they had, because
Mm-hmm.
people that lived there were saying no, that's impossible. I saw way more thousands of dead bodies, so
Mm-hmm.
the number they're saying is way too low.
Right.
And the people that started talking up about it then disappeared.
Ah,
Did you hear
okay.
about that? Yeah,
No, I didn't.
there were doctors, there were American doctors and doctors from Latin America and other countries, Europe and stuff, that were working in China and in different laboratories there.
Right.
And and when COVID happened, they saw all these massive amounts of deaths. And but then when the Chinese government was saying, "Oh, we only have like 1,000 deaths," they're like, "No, it's more like 50,000 deaths. Why are they saying 1,000 deaths?" And those doctors and scientists disappeared, and no one's ever seen them since. I hope they're not on display at the museum in New York or around the country,
Right.
but they vanished. Yeah, it was a group of them. It was like I think 4 or 5 of them spoke up, and they were all out. They were not Chinese. They were all from different countries around the world.
Right.
And yeah, they I don't think they've ever found on to this day. I don't know if they found their bodies. I just knew that their bodies went missing and hadn't been found after they spoke up.
Mm,
So they're probably often thrown somewhere in the ocean or given to one of these people that purchases bodies or something. Who knows? That's pretty
mm-hmm.
messed up. Yeah. So the thing
Yeah.
is, over there, you can't speak up. If you say anything that the government doesn't agree with, they just off you. In
Right.
this case, they off you and make money off of your body because they sell you.
This is
And
horrible.
yeah, that's disgusting to me. I mean, I'm not saying that all Chinese people are bad or anything. No, I have Chinese friends that I, love and care about and are good people. So I'm not trying
Mm-hmm.
to like, diss an entire nation or country. Not at all. And Chinese food's awesome. So
Mm,
I'm not. What I mean is just the people that are in power. And yeah, if they're gonna
right.
come after me, then so be it. Okay, like what do I have to lose? Nothing. Um, but it's just sad that people cannot just speak up about anything because then they fear of losing their lives.
Right.
And now we're talking about these people, these museum bodies that came from tortured prisoners in China. Reminds me of those people that went missing during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm wondering, are there any of those people in these museums? That would be, I guess we will never know because they're not doing DNA tests on these bodies. They're just purchasing them for 200, $300 and putting them on display
Mm-hmm.
without even while even knowing who the person was. That's where that's the whole, how do you say that? Like not the principle, but that's the, what's that term for something that's not quite right? Ethical. Ethical.
Yeah.
I think that's so unethical to do that. And now it
It's,
kind of makes me want to go and find out who these people are. Like now I want to go to these museums and just actually like do research and try to find the families of each one of the bodies
mm-hmm.
so the family members can have some closure. That's sad because these people are never going to know. And
Right.
their loved
Ab-
ones could be on display for the next few hundred years in a museum. Like we have those displays in museums from hundreds of years ago. here
Mm-hmm.
in the museums in the National Mall in DC. Yeah, so that could be the same thing that's going to happen to their bodies. Their bodies could be on display for the next 500 years, and they just all they know is that their loved ones were taken by the police and never seen again.
Right.
That's really sad. But okay, any more questions you have before we go?
I don't think so. But you had
So that
wonderful information.
oh, thank you. You did too. I was actually
Yes.
shocked because I did not know that he had offed his grandmother and grandfather. And I didn't know that he had such a bad childhood with his mother saying those things to him.
Mm,
So, and I didn't know he was the highest level on the evil scale, 22.
right.
And now I found out that my favorite number is the most evil number. Thank you, uh, doctor, for creating a scale that only went to 22. It's like you should make it go to 30 or something. I don't want my favorite
Yeah.
number to be like the worst of the evil scales. Like no, or cut it off at 20 so it doesn't even get to 22. So I'm not even on the evil scale. Because my other
Right.
favorite number is 2. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
still bad. Because 22 became my favorite number. First 2 was my favorite number. And then I was like, when I was little, I was like, what's better than 2? Two twos. So 22. But
Right.
now they're both on the scale. So it's like, oh, I guess I'm gonna make my number like 5,689. That way it'll never be on an evil scale. When
Exactly.
someone asks me, what's your favorite number? 5,689. What? Yes, that number, that exact number.
Mm-hmm.
That would actually, I'm gonna do that the next time someone asks me what my favorite number is. I'm just gonna make up a random like 4-digit number and see what the reaction is. Because most people say like, oh, 13, 54, 3. So I'll be like, 7,932. It's like, what? I would tell, if someone said that to me, I'd be like, huh? Like, are those all your favorite numbers, like individual numbers, or like one full number? Like, really, 7,932? Are you sure? It's like, yeah, it's also the pin to my ATM card. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. Well, thank you so much, Lizzie. This has been an awesome show.
Yes, it has.
It's been filled with lots of information, and I learned so much about Ed Kepner. I thought I knew basically about him, but I didn't really know the details of it until you brought those details, and then that's what made me kind of feel sad for him.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like, but yeah, but I'm glad that what, at least I could say I respect him as a human being for acknowledging that he can't control himself and he was doing evil things and wanted to be tortured and unalived to
Right.
pay for his sins, for what he did
Yes.
to others. So at
Right.
least he had the cojones to actually say something like that and be like, you know what, you guys, I'm not fixable. You guys are going to have to off me. And
Mm-hmm.
he didn't just say he wanted the death penalty, he said he wanted to be tortured too.
Yes.
So that to me shows signs of guilt and remorse, that
Mm-hmm.
something was pulling at him, that when someone feels like they should be tortured because it's something they did to someone else. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of shows to me that I don't think I would put him in the 22, because I think that he did show, which other serial killers didn't show any like any
Re-
regret or any,
yeah.
yeah,
Remorse.
remorse or anything. He showed by doing that, he's acknowledging that he knows the way he did was awful, and
Right.
he feels tortured by it, like he's being tortured by it, so that's why he thinks he should be tortured like how he tortured the women. Yes,
Right.
exactly, an eye for an eye. And so at least he is man enough to admit that, so I have to give
Mm-hmm.
him credit for that, because no other serial killers done that. I don't think. Do you know any other serial killers? Well, so far we don't know. I don't know any other serial killers yet that have acknowledged, say that they want to be put on death row,
I don't know. I
or
think this
not,
is
or
the first.
tortured.
I think this is the first one that I've heard say that.
Yeah. So actually, that gives me a little more respect for him. Now I actually want to see his like the show that they have about him. I think it's called
Hmm.
what's it called? Ed Kepner, American Killer, or something like that.
I think so.
So yeah, that's something. I think it's on Netflix. But I'll have to look it up to see what his. It's I think it's Kempler, right? Oh, Kemper.
Temper. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's ah ooh. It is a recent independent film that just came out in April 2025.
Wow.
So it's a brand new one. I thought it was, there's just the one on Netflix that came out like many years ago. So there's
Uh
one
huh.
really that just came out, and it covers a horrifying true crime event surrounding Edmund Kemper, tracking his childhood, the murder of his grandparents, age 15, and his subsequent 1970s co-ed killer murder spree. It heavily focuses on his deeply volatile relationship with his mother, Clarnell, and the film stars Brandon Kirk as Ed Kempner and some other actors. It says you can watch it across multiple digital services. It's widely available to stream.
Okay.
So they said it's free with ads on Tubi, Pluto, the Roku channel, Zumo, Plex, and Fandango. Or you can stream it with a subscription Amazon Prime, or you can rent or buy a copy in Apple TV and Google Play Movies. But yeah, there's a bunch of places it's free, so we can watch it on Pluto, Tubi. I actually have all those. Plex. I don't think I Roku and Fandango. Zumo, I think is the only
Hmm.
one I don't have. So yeah, now actually it makes me want to see it
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
see if there's any other information that they're gonna um show. I really want to know more about his relationship with his mother, how his mother, what more details about the kind of torture that she did to him that made him want to torture these women.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's what, because I think there's a lot more to it that they're not releasing to the public, because it's like private details of the
Hmm.
crimes.
Right.
But because I'm sure he's the psychiatrist that interviewed him, like they say, he helped a lot of the criminal psychiatrists understand, how the mind of a serial killer works. So he had spoken at length about everything he went through as a child.
Right.
So that has to be documented somewhere, and hopefully it'll be in the movie. So yeah, so for you guys
Mm.
out there who want to hear more about Ed Kempner, there's that brand new movie that came out last year, and you can find it on your streaming services with ads or streaming subscriptions. So thank you so much, Lizzie. Oh, the one I was talking about was the one that came out in 2008, Kepner, the co-ed killer.
Right.
And the one, and then the one on Netflix, it was called Mind Hunter. That's one that's really
Oh.
highly praised. Is the Mind Hunter one on Netflix?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, but here's the trailer for the 2025. Oh, the guy that plays him looks just like him too. So interesting. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're showing him when he was a child, when he was a teenager, and as an adult. So it's going to go through his full life.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yay! Well, I mean, not yay, because not yay what he did to
Yeah.
people. I meant yay,
Right.
like yeah, I get to see, learn some more information about him, because now you got me
Hmm.
all intrigued by this guy. Thank you so much. This has been
You're
awesome,
welcome.
and to those of you listening, sorry about the audio issues we were having earlier. But
It
sometimes
happens
when you're
sometimes.
live, there's technical difficulties that we can't control. It's out of our control because we're
Yeah.
live streaming. And sometimes, SHIT hits the fan and we got to roll
Hmm.
with it. So thank you so much. And we will see you, or we will speak to you next week. Bye
Yes.
bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much, Lizzie.
You're welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And you, and you, and you.